Welcome to the Will to Win Show, episode 24, where we're going to be talking about the importance of making friends and how to go about making them as you get older. Because what you find is that as you get older, it tends to become a lot more difficult to make friends. While when you're younger, going through high school, university, it tends to be a lot easier because there's more opportunity.
Yeah.
So without further ado, please welcome back our special guest, Nav on Track, here today to talk to me about friendship.
Thank you so much, Steve, for having me here again. It's just a pleasure to come and speak more about friendship today. And even for us as well, we have developed good friendship over time, which started off from the podcast, and now we get to know each other way more. I completely agree with what you just said about friendship, where when you are in uni or when you're younger, it's so easy to make friends because you're constantly meeting people on a day-to-day basis. I'm in my early 30s now, so I feel the older I get, the harder it becomes for me to make friends. And I do think that over time, the quality of friendship becomes even important for you. When I was in my 20s, maybe I wasn't very mindful on who I want to surround myself with at that time. So I will just speak to everyone and be friends with everybody. But the older I'm getting, I feel the quality of friendship has become very important for myself, and there are certain qualities that I look for in people. If they are consistent, if they want the best for you, if they uplift you, if they support you in the worst time of yourself, if you can be vulnerable around them. So those are the things that I really consider now rather than when I was younger. And what's your take on that? Do you find the similar experience that you have now because you are wiser, older and better?
Most definitely. Also in my 30s, late 30s. And I am finding it a lot harder these days to make genuine friends because there's not as much opportunities, and you really need to put a lot of effort in to go to various social events and be able to place yourself in situations where you can meet new friends. And going back to what you said about having a friend, a quality friend, is having a friend, no matter what difficulties you go through, they are still going to be there for you. And there's a really good saying that goes, a true friend walks in when the rest of the world walks out on you. And the other quote that stands out to me is, you don't need lots of friends. You just need a few friends that you can be certain of.
Very well said, Steve. And yeah, maybe as you said, maybe when we were younger, we really focused on going out and spending a lot of time with lots of people. Now the focus has shifted so much from 10 friends to 3 quality friends that you can be yourself. You can have any conversation with them, and people who are there for you when you need them the most, because the world, you are surrounded by people when you are in your happy phase. But the moment you get into your tough and difficult phase, a lot of people can walk away. And I think that's the time where you really realize that, okay, this is a very valuable friend that I have in my life, and I don't want that person to go away from me. So very well said, Steve.
Thank you, Nab. And yeah, the big focus here is on quality over quantity. And you might meet someone and there'll be a connection, there'll be some things that you maybe have in common, things that you relate to about, and yeah, you start to develop a bond from there. But it's never instant, and friendships are continually growing. So trust is always building, and you're always learning new things about each other and improving the level of connection that you have. Friendship is not a one-stop shop. It's an ever-evolving process.
Yeah, that's amazing what you just mentioned, Steve, because the process of getting to know someone is a very long, tedious process as well. And people can surprise you. When you spend time with them, and then the more you get to know them, and the more different sides you get to see of theirs, it just can either build a long-term trust with them over their constant meetups, or it's just relationships as well. When you're getting to know somebody, you're slowly getting to spending time with them and getting to know them. And if someone is consistent in your life, I think that's a person worth keeping as well, that they show up and you're not waiting for them. So yeah, a lot of little things play a lot more emotion in your older days, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And there's another really good quote that goes, trust is the glue that holds relationships together. And trust can be broken. It can also be restored. But I guess the reality is each point of trust builds on the other. So if you do something that causes friction in the level of trust that you have with someone, that can have a negative impact on the relationship. You have that person, whilst if you are doing things that build the trust and keep it evolving, well, then it just makes that connection so much more powerful. So yeah, you really want to be doing things that are going to lead people to trust you more, not for your own gain, but just for the fact that you just want to maintain that bond and continue to grow that friendship. So all friendships are constantly being strengthened.
Yeah.
Or they could also be weakened depending on how you treat the person you're friends with.
Yeah. It's just watering the plant, because you sow the seed, you fertilize it, you give it water every day or every week. So it's the same with friendship as well. You have to nurture your friends, look after them, and be that supportive person to show up. And it's not a one-way road, or it's not one person's job to look after another person either, but it's just two-way journey where you are trying to understand each other. And sometimes one person is low, another person is high, or up and down in their life, but then you carry that weight for a little bit and then uplift another person and bring them back to the normal life, I guess. So that's a great way to support one another as well.
Definitely. And when it comes to, say, for example, entrepreneurship, and let's just say you're a really ambitious person, you're into personal development, and you want to be around people who share that same mindset for growth, for being able to achieve something greater than yourself. You want people around you who are going to hold you to a much higher standard than what you yourself ever would.
Right.
You want friends who are going to bring out the best in you.
Yeah, that's a very great thing that you just mentioned here, Steve, because yes, you can have a lot of friendships where you can either get a lot of kindness and nurturing, but you can be inclined to growth in friendships as well. So I think the longest friendship that I have with the people, one of my friends, we know each other for 7 years now. She used to live in Sydney and she lives in Prague now, and we speak almost every week.
Wow.
So we just have maintained.
Hey girl, how are you?
Yeah, maintaining that friendship from the other side of the world. But I think the biggest thing that has kept us going is growing together and sharing our vulnerabilities and our issues on a day-to-day basis, and uplifting one another and talking about it, and just listening as well. I think that helps quite a lot. And she's quite a driven person, and I think she knows myself as well. So I, as you can see from Nav on travel, yes, I love traveling, but I also want to excel in a lot of different areas of my life. So I'm constantly hustling and working. So whenever I find that there's a mind block in somewhere, so I speak to her and we talk for hours, and every time I speak to her, I discover something new, that this is something I need to work on.
Yeah.
So that's where I feel that she helps me excel and grow and be better. And that's the kind of friendships that I want in my life. And even if I have 3 or 4 people in my life which are solid, which are there for me and show me either a nurturing side or growth side, or uplift me or bring the best in me, as you just said, that is remarkable. I would never let those people go away from my life. And is there anything that you feel that you have in 2024 in terms of your friendships that you felt that they were a really nice person, but then things weren't aligning very well?
Yeah, there are at least maybe 1 or 2 people who I found that maybe we weren't on the same wavelength. The values weren't quite the same. There were points of difference, and I guess we're just going in different pathways. And that's life. You will be friends with someone for a certain season, and then you might part ways. And then there'll be other people who you become friends with who you remain lifelong friends with, and you'll never part ways. So it's always good to have, say, people to turn to, people who you can talk to, who will, you can talk to them about anything and they won't judge you. And they'll just give you feedback, they'll nurture you, they'll encourage you, and they'll tell you things that will help you become the best version you can be. And I'll say this, a true friend is someone who tells you the things that you don't want to hear, that you need to hear in order for you to be able to grow. And it's not always going to be roses. Sometimes you're going to say things that are going to actually annoy you or even piss you off, and you might be taken a bit aback, but they're not doing it because they want to hurt you. They're doing it because they want to help you. But at the same time, sometimes they're right. Sometimes maybe they're not. But it's really helping the other person to discover their blind spots, because if your friends don't tell you, who is going to tell you? Who's going to tell you? There's been so many times where I've had blind spots that I haven't recognized, and a friend points it out to me. Oh my God, I had no idea.
They should be the reflection of your flaws and your strengths, and that's the biggest difference that I find, that maybe when I was in my 20s versus when I'm in my 30s now, the transparency has become vital. You don't have to be rude. You can still be polite and be very, very polite in your approach, and can be, hey, Steve, hey, Nav, maybe I think you should approach this way, versus, oh, no, you are doing this wrong. So you can still be supportive, still be very transparent, and not try to flatten each other by just not saying the right thing to you on your face. I think this is such a big thing, that the true friends will listen to you, and they will have the right way to convey this to you, that, Steve, I think that this is a great initiative, but I wish you could have done it this way, right? So that's become very valuable and very important to me. And also on the note where you mentioned that you also had to let go of a couple of people in the past. So I also had to let go of a couple of people in the past, which has been very hurtful and painful journey. Yeah. But sometimes people aren't bad at all. It's just they are on a different wavelength and different path. And sometimes, you're just together for a season. But right side of people who you share similar values, similar vision with, they stay and stick around. So I'm really wanting to build a little bit more on that.
Amazing. I think there's a saying, I don't know if I've got it exactly right, but some people come into your life for a season, a decade, or a lifetime.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to tell the difference between someone who is a seasonal friend, a friend that you might be friends with for 5 or 10 years, or a friend that maybe you'll be friends with for a lifetime. But reality is, as you get older, you do learn to value your friendships more, and you do also become a lot more selective in whom you choose to have as friends. And I'd say a lot of people think they have friends, but they just have acquaintances. They're not true friends. They're just people they hang out with, but they don't necessarily have a really close bond. It's just, hey, I'm here when, in random situations when I got no one else to talk to and they reach out to you, you're just an accessory. You don't want that. Yeah, you want people who really want to be there for you and be a part of your journey, and also you being a part of their journey and helping each other grow. And it's not always easy to find those people. But if you've got at least 3 to 5 close friends in your 30s, you are doing incredibly well, because most people don't.
Yeah. To that, there is a beautiful friend of mine who always told me that, Nav, when I look for friendships, I always think if they are an asset or if they are a liability.
Wow, I didn't remember you saying that. That's such a good way of seeing things.
Yeah, so if they're an asset in your life, you're going to have a beautiful life, because navigating in life is not easy. So if you have those people that you can go to and they are not your just acquaintances, it's a true friendship, true transparency, a loving, nurturing relationship. That is just beautiful. You are a very lucky person if you have that. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you could be out and about and you are talking to someone. They could be an asset, they could be a liability, but you don't really know until you get to know them. And sometimes people put on a show, you see parts of them, but you don't see all the parts of them. So personality is multifaceted, and you're not always going to see every aspect of a person's personality on the first encounter with them. It could take 3 or 4 encounters to see all sides, maybe more.
And maybe even longer, Steve, because in our life as well, we have seasons, right? We go through happy phase and sad phase and wellness phase, non-wellness phase. And so there's so much sometimes happening in life. So I think that's the true face of someone you can only see when you are in deep shit. And then you see where are the people going? Are they running towards you or are they running away from you? I think that's the crucial time to really suss it out on who are your true friends. And personally, I've been in that situation a couple of years ago. I used to hang out with a lot of friends, a lot of people. I went through this phase where for almost 2 years, there was nothing good going on in my life. And I was struggling with finances, with my job, with trying to figure things out, what I want to do in my life. And at that time, I used to think that, wow, I have a lot of friends around me. But during that time, I've seen everyone just go away from me. There was no one I could actually speak to.
Wow, that's so bad.
So that time really made me think and question is that the kind of friendship I want in my life? And from that time, I just became very mindful of who I want to surround myself with. And I think my longest friendships and my best relationships with people have flourished over, I would say, 2 years because within 2 years, when you spend some time with them, you really get to know them and you really see if they were there for you and they support you and how they act in different situations and circumstances. So I feel that I'm not one of those people who day one, I would just give it in, or then I'm your best friend. It just comes with time. A lot of patience, a lot of consistency. And if I see consistency from other person's end, you will see a lot of support, love, and nurturing from my end as well. But I'm very mindful because of certain circumstances, but that's how it should be, right?
Yeah, it's balancing the give and take.
Yeah.
And you're doing things for each other without expecting anything in return.
Right.
But you're also making sure that it's balanced. It's not that one person's just constantly looking out for you and you're just not looking out for them. It's, hey, I'm looking out for you and you're looking out for me. It's a win-win.
Right. And the other important thing that I introduced after that journey was self-care. I would always try to please people and never say no to them. And
Really?
then, yeah, I would try to give them the shoulder, the whatever they need. And if they want to see you, I would not say no. But over the time, the older I'm getting, also considering the fact that you also need to look after your own mental health where you are. And if there are some days you just want to take time off, just lay low, stay at home, have a cup of tea, watch some Netflix, just relax and
definitely
recharge your soul before you recharge someone else's soul. And as they say, you can't fill someone else's cup when your cup is empty. So that is something else that I've also learned a lot from my own mistakes over time as well.
Wow, that's solid wisdom there. I'm really blown away by what you've just said. So
thanks, Steve.
And let's now focus on how do we make friends? Where do we go to make friends in our 30s or even 40s?
That is a really good question, Steve. And I wonder myself as well, given knowing myself and knowing yourself as well, you seem very positive, optimistic and driven, growth mindset kind of person. So the more about yourself, the more similar kind of qualities you look in that person when it comes to friendships. So probably the fitness clubs, the mindfulness clubs, yogas or Pilates sessions or ice baths or networking events. I think that could be the place where you can actually meet some right set of people. But I do find I wish there was a bigger and better community in Sydney, especially for the age group 30 plus.
Yeah.
Because I do know a couple of my other friends as well. They're in their 30s, but I think it's hard for them to make friends and they mostly stay at home and not put themselves out there. So the important thing is, yes, you put yourself out there, go to the events and places which interest you. If it's fitness, go for fitness. If it's mindfulness, if you are in that journey, maybe go for retreats or some decent networking events. Is there anything that...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So obviously meetup's a big one. There's all kinds of events on Meetup. I mean, I even have a meetup which is called the Contents Creators Meetup.
Nice.
And it's for people who are into video production, editing, and how to publish videos on social media. So it's something I do, but there are a lot of social groups where you can just go have a drink or have something to eat and just get to know new people. Also, there are a lot of co-working spaces that do events. And then you've got, I guess, entrepreneur groups. You've got Edward Zia's group here in Sydney, which is about networking, marketing, and how to promote yourself. So I've been there a few times. And you've also got startup groups where they once a month or something. But I remember going to Fishburners once and they had quite a lot of people there. That was awesome. And social sport, for example, Urban Rec. They have all kinds of sports, soccer, basketball, football, baseball. There's so many options and it's relatively cheap. You can sign up as an individual or even start your own team.
Right.
Yeah, I played social basketball with them a couple of years back and it was a lot of fun. You get young people, you get people in their 30s as well. It's more of a younger crowd, but still a great way to make friends. And maybe you might go to community events, you might go to public events, concerts. Yeah, it just depends what your interests are. Yeah, even street ball, I used to play social basketball, made friends that way. Yeah, it's just you've got to be creative and you've got to keep your options open.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned so many pointers that I personally didn't know, so thanks for that. But my next question to you would be...
Next and final question.
would be, how do you make sure that I don't mind hanging out with the younger crowd, but I still want to be inclined towards people on at least similar age group a little bit more. So how do you make sure that you are meeting more of those in all these events that you just mentioned about?
Well, number one is you're attending events specifically for the age group for which friends you're to meet. that are in the similar age bracket as what you are. And I mean, you do have all kinds. You've got social events for certain age groups. You've also got dating events for certain age groups. I mean, we could touch on that, but that's probably better to focus on that for another episode.
Right.
But yeah, it's difficult because you're not always going to meet people who are exactly the same or similar age at every event. So you've got to just keep your eye out, and you're not going to go around to everyone, what's your age? You're not going to do that. People are going to take offense to that. But I think once you get to know various communities within your local area, you'll start to become familiar with where to go to meet people who are of a similar age. And and then once you meet more people who are of a similar age, down other people.
So, Steve, I recently learned that you have written a book called Making Friends Made Simple a couple of years ago.
More than a couple of years ago now. It was back in 2015.
Wow. So how did you come up with this idea, and can you tell us a bit more about it?
I sure can. Yeah, back in the day, I was writing about personal development, and then I sort of also was dabbling in different topics around friendship. And I decided, why don't I just write a book about friendship? And in the beginning, I promoted it, but I wasn't really good with marketing, so the book never really took off. But it's called Making Friends Made Simple: How to Stand Out and Create a Great Social Life. And there's a lot of tips in the book that I think people would find very handy. And I'm just surprised I've never bothered to talk about it on a podcast. We are now.
Today's the day.
It is.
Today's the day, Steve.
I'm just looking at the first page, and I've got a Zig Ziglar quote. It says, if you go looking for a friend, you're going to find that they are very scarce. If you go out and be a friend, you'll find them everywhere.
Oh, amazing, Steve. Amazing. That is so right. But well done to you for writing a book that is years and years ago. And I hope you're applying all these practices that you were thinking about in 2015 in 2025, which is 10 years ago. And I'm sure it's working for you, and you have built a really good friendship network around you, and maybe better people to come in your life too.
Absolutely. Well, we've come to the end of this podcast on friendship, and we've covered a lot of insights about how friendship should be and what is to develop friends when you're in your 30s. And it's obviously a lot harder, but we've also learned on some strategies on how to make things easier for us to be able to make friends with new people. And
yeah, it's been a pleasure, Steve, and you've shared so many different ways for us to make new friends. And the most important thing is putting yourself out there and trying to connect with more and more people, and people can surprise you and you can never know. You can just, even for us, we met at a social event and you either click or you don't click. And I hope there are many more years of friendship for us as well. So thank you so much for having me on the show. And Nav on Track is happy to be on the Will to Win podcast. Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure, Nav. And before we finish up, I'm just going to turn to a random page in the book, and I'm going to share one last quote. And here it is. Energy levels play an important role in being positive. Everything is made up of energy, stored in every human being, are vast reserves. Let's start that again. Energy levels play an important role in being positive. Everything is made up of energy, stored in every human being, are vast reserves of energy upon which we all have the ability to tap into. Your life force is what you have. Your energy force is what you create. Everything around you is made up of energy. As motivational speaker Tia Harveck has said, you are an energy source operating in a larger energy field known as the universe. All energy travels through frequency and vibrations which are either expanded or diminished depending on how you carry yourself. If there's one key takeaway from what I've just said, it's that people want to be around other people who share the same energy. You want to be in the same vibration, frequency, and that's just going to make your relationships so much better. And look, sometimes you're going to be down and you're going to need people to cheer you up. And it's the people who really believe in you, who want the best for you, are the ones who are going to help you bring your energy back up to where it needs to be.
Exactly, Steve. And instead of looking for friends, sometimes we are attracting what we have inside, the kind of energy we put outside. That's what you're attracting in your life as well. I think that's something for another topic to talk about for our next session. But I completely agree, and hopefully more people can read this book and get some more insight from Steve. And
awesome.
Yeah, but thank you so much again for having me on this podcast.
No problem at all, Nav. And anyone who wants to hear more about me, find out more about personal development, friendship, relationships, mental health and well-being, my handle is Steve Scarney on Instagram, STEVESCARNIE, and on YouTube, TikTok as well. And Nav, I don't know, I think you're on a break from Instagram, but would you to a plug here?
Sure. So my Instagram handle is Nav on Track. So please stay on track with Nav on Track. I am much more than just travels. I love the travels because life's too short not to see the world, and it's important to see the world, but then it's also important to keep yourself mentally sane, build right set of friendships around you, and grow on day-to-day basis. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much, Steve, for having me here.
All right, that's it.